Joseph McGuire. In the Huffington Post, Schiff told ABC's This Week that he expects the whistleblower to appear before this committee very soon. In the New York Post, quote, "We'll get the unfiltered testimony of that whistleblower." In the Washington Times, quote, "That whistleblower will be allowed to come in." These are all quotes from Chairman Adam Schiff.
Adam Schiff thought nobody would remember what he said back in 2019. Then a Republican congressman started reading Schiff's own words back to him, line by line on live television. And suddenly the entire hearing got very uncomfortable because this was not some random accusation anymore. These were Schiff's exact public promises. ABC, CNN, The Washington Post, NBC, quote after quote after quote, all saying the same thing. The whistleblower will testify very soon. And once those receipts started getting read into the congressional record, Democrats suddenly found themselves defending a narrative they once pushed themselves.
Thank you. Since the chairman has gavelled out all of my colleagues with their unanimous consent, I am going to read for the record many of the chairman's comments in September of the importance of hearing from the whistleblower. Again, Ambassador, thank you for your patience, thank you for your service, but since we haven't been able to conduct ourselves in normal procedures, I'm just going to use the 5 minutes for this. September 29th, in the Wall Street Journal, quote, "The whistleblower at the center of the impeachment investigation of President Trump will testify in the House very soon." This is a quote by the chairman. USA Today, September 29th. Talking with ABC News This Week, Schiff, the Democrat who chairs the House Intelligence Committee, said the whistleblower would testify very soon, and the only thing standing in the way was getting security clearances for the attorneys representing the whistleblower so they could attend the testimony. From Vox, September 29th, Rep. Adam Schiff said Sunday the whistleblower at the center of a growing scandal surrounding President Donald Trump will testify before the House Intelligence Committee very soon. On CNN, September 29th, Schiff said Sunday on ABC as well as NBC's Meet the Press that he expects the whistleblower to testify very soon. The Washington Post, September 29th. In an appearance on ABC News This Week, Schiff echoed Pelosi's message. He also said he expected the Intelligence Committee to hear from the whistleblower very soon, pending a security clearance from Acting Director of National Intelligence Joseph McGuire. In the Huffington Post, Schiff told ABC's This Week that he expects the whistleblower to appear before this committee very soon. In the New York Post, quote, "We'll get the unfiltered testimony of that whistleblower." In the Washington Times, quote, "That whistleblower will be allowed to come in." These are all quotes from Chairman Adam Schiff. In Talking Points memo, the question was posed, actually this was by George Stephanopoulos, "Have you reached an agreement yet with the whistleblower and his or her attorneys about coming before the committee and providing the information firsthand?" Quote, "Yes, we have," Schiff responded, "and as DNI McGuire promised during the hearing, that whistleblower will be allowed to come in without a minder from the Justice Department or from the White House to tell the whistleblower what they can and cannot say. We'll get the unfiltered testimony of that whistleblower." In Daily Kos, "We're ready to hear from the whistleblower as soon as that is done, and we'll keep obviously riding shotgun to make sure that the acting director doesn't delay in that clearance process." In CNBC, "We'll get the unfiltered testimony of that whistleblower." In Market Watch, House Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff said Sunday that an agreement has been reached under which the whistleblower will testify before the committee very soon. I can keep going, but again, the chairman refused to allow us to put these into the record with unanimous consent. So I've read those out, and as we know, it is important to protect whistleblowers from retaliation and from firing, and we want to make sure whistleblowers are able to come forward. But in this case, the fact that we are getting criticized by Chairman Adam Schiff for statements that he himself made early on in this process shows the duplicity and just the abuse of power that we are continuing to see. With a minute 54 seconds left, I'll yield to my colleague, Mr. Jordan.
This hearing completely changed the second the congressman stopped arguing and started reading receipts. Not opinions, not rumors, not social media posts. Adam Schiff's own public statements. And honestly, that is what made this moment so dangerous politically. Because once politicians get confronted with their exact words on live television, there is nowhere to hide. The congressman calmly started reading quote after quote from major media interviews Schiff gave during the impeachment investigation. ABC News, CNN, NBC, The Washington Post, Vox, CNBC, over and over again, the same promise kept appearing. The whistleblower will testify very soon. And once you hear all those statements back to back, the contradiction becomes impossible to ignore. Because remember, what happened during that impeachment battle? Republicans spent months demanding more direct testimony and questioning parts of the process. But Democrats and much of the media acted outraged anytime those questions were raised. That is why this hearing exploded. Republicans were basically saying, wait a minute, you were the ones publicly promising this testimony from the beginning. And honestly, the strategy worked. Because the congressman did not scream, he did not interrupt, he did not turn it into theater. He just documented everything calmly like a prosecutor building a timeline. And that can actually hit harder than yelling. The room got noticeably more tense with every quote because each statement made it harder to pretend the expectation never existed. Then came the bigger Republican argument underneath all of it. If the whistleblower testimony was supposedly so essential at the start of the impeachment process, why did Democrats later act like Republicans were outrageous for demanding it? That was the core contradiction they wanted viewers focusing on. Now, Democrats would argue the broader evidence mattered more than one witness. That is their defense. But politically, Republicans knew exactly what voters would lock onto instead. Double standards. Because Americans can tolerate political fights. What drives people crazy is when politicians publicly say one thing and later behave like they never said it at all. And honestly, that is why this exchange spread online so fast. It sounded documented, not emotional, not speculative, documented. Then came the line that really landed, the duplicity and abuse of power that we continue to see. That phrase completely shifted the energy in the room, because suddenly this was no longer just about impeachment anymore. It became about trust, credibility, and whether politicians manipulate narratives once public opinion changes. Then, with time still left on the clock, the congressman handed the floor to Jim Jordan, and everybody watching knew exactly what that meant. The buildup alone created suspense. Republicans were clearly coordinating the moment like a relay race. One member lays out the timeline, another comes in to hammer the political message. And honestly, moments like this explain why trust in Congress keeps collapsing. People are exhausted, not just from partisan fighting, but from constantly hearing politicians deny things the public literally watched them say on national television. That is why this hearing mattered, not because it changed votes inside Congress, but because it created something far more powerful in modern politics, a viral narrative reversal. Because once viewers hear 10 straight Schiff quotes promising testimony very soon, it becomes much harder for Democrats to act shocked that Republicans kept demanding exactly that. And that is the danger of making public promises during a media frenzy. Eventually, somebody rewinds the tape.